Hi, friends. Hello. I'm a little nervous. Hi, I'm Rebecca. I'm the host of the Me and You podcast. This is a podcast for a safe and compassionate community. This is a podcast for people who want to discover themselves and others deeper. This is a space for all things personal reflection and self evolution. And I am providing kind of jumping off points and sharing my experience. And I'm praying and encouraging that you do the same. It warms my heart to hear about other people and what they have going on in their lives. And I've said this a lot in every episode. I say this, that I would love for this conversation to continue in other places. And it's ideally one day in the comments section of my Instagram or TikTok. But I think that because right now I just have a low follower count and I'm just starting out, that it might be intimidating for some people to comment on my pictures and like say like things from the episodes. So I end up getting a lot of DMs, which is so cool. But for those brave souls who are ready to start like sharing, more publicly on the comment section, like I really am trying to use that as a space to create compassionate community. Like the internet can be a safe place. This is a little safe corner of it. And I want to tailor that community to be here for each other with like minded and loving individuals. So, I do have to, unfortunately, shamelessly plug all of my social medias because um, that is how, we get this around word of mouth. And, if this podcast really touches you or it's connecting to you or it's doing something for you, please, 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 if you could like and leave a review, that would just be so helpful. That algorithm really pays attention to that. And I could really use your support. I also have a Patreon where it's a little bit more of a tailored version of this. It's a little bit more candid, informal. And my ultimate goal with that is to create like a forum, like a space where like we can connect with episode ideas, with daily life things that are going on, meeting weekly and decompressing the current happenings of our lives together. So yeah, I really want to bring people together. That's really my heart, my mission with this. So my Instagram, the treachery here is that it was going to be the Me and You podcast. And that's what I've started in other episodes. But somebody did steal that. How rude of them. Can you believe that? So it is underscore the Me and You podcast. So yeah, compromised. But anyway, my Patreon, the Me and You podcast, my TikTok, the Me and You podcast. Trying to think if there's like other things that exist as well. It's kind of crazy because I was off of social media for 4 years and now I'm literally on everything. It feels like I'm on Threads. Yeah, the Me and You podcast on Threads, or I guess underscore the Me and You podcast on Threads. It's just like crazy being on everything because I really was out here raw dogging life, guys. Like, and then now here I am. Like, that's just wild. So anyway, yeah, please, please, give it a follow. Please, if you ever have episode ideas, you want to like share any of your stories with me, like, and I can keep them confidential or not, whatever you prefer. But like, please send me a DM. Like on this episode and on every episode, there's a link to text the show, so you can text me through the link. Obviously, not my phone number, but sorry, I thought I heard something. I'm dog sitting a woofer. I fucking love dogs so much, and I got a gig dog sitting a super cute golden retriever, and he's so precious, and he's here with me. So you might hear his little paws smacking around, but hopefully not. If Riverside does what it's supposed to, and it does get out all of the background sounds, so then I just sound crazy. But anyway, so yeah, dropping a follow, dropping a like, leaving a review, turning on your notifications for the podcast. All this stuff shows the algorithm that people are tuning in and they're paying attention, and it helps get my voice out there more. And I would really, really appreciate that. And yeah, I also want to say that I wanted or want for a visual component to be coming soon to this podcast. But what's hard is that I don't have adequate recording equipment for that. I just have my iPhone. And also, I've been so reluctant to share my face super a lot on this just because I want people to like me and listen to me for my brain. And I know that sounds really head ass and pick me, and it's not about that. I just really want, people to resonate what's actually happening here, and I don't want them to be persuaded or dissuaded by my appearance. So, yeah. Anyway, it seems like we got all the housekeeping stuff out. Let me go ahead and adjust my mic. That is so much better. I'm sorry for the first part of this not being like this moment right now. I definitely had to adjust my mic. But anyway, this particular episode is called What to Do. Well, okay, originally it was going to be called What to Do When Your Worst Fears Come True. And I had mentioned it to my therapist once, and she was like, "But are you going to record from a healed place, or are you going to record from being in the thick of it?" Because she has said that sometimes I don't share when I'm going through hard things. I kind of like go through it, and once I've intellectualized it, then I share it. Once it's like all done and clean and squared away. So it kind of gave me the courage to make this episode like when your worst fears come true, because I'm in the midst of that right now. I have some worst fears coming true, and believe me guys, I've had some worst fears come true in my life. And this episode's going to kind of function differently. Normally on a typical episode, I love to provide you guys with research and examples. I have a, a show outline that I follow. I have a specific, template that I want to move forward with, and then I love to leave things that like a tangible practical tips for you guys to move forward with. This episode is going to function a little bit differently because it's going to be more of a story time. And it feels really vulnerable to do that. And I love the chance to be vulnerable. And I think vulnerability is beautiful. And it's a gift to share your heart with other people and for them to want to listen. That's beautiful. So thank you. And some tears might be made in the making of this production. So we'll see what happens. So I think I'm just going to start walking you through my life. I started dancing when I was about 7 years old, and dancing was my first love. And it was my first real thing that I really cared about outside of my family. My family was like all that I knew. And then I had this thing come into my life that I just loved. And I've always had a knack for performing. I was the kid that was like putting together dances and like forcing the family to come and watch at family cookouts, and like grabbing adults and bringing them into the room and forcing them to watch me dance to like Sierra's 1-2 step with my cousin, or the Cheetah Girls, or Let's Go to the Mall from How I Met Your Mother. I would make scripts and stuff to play like newscaster. I would play all sorts of games where I was coming up with scripts. And even like when I would play with my dolls as a kid, like my Bratz dolls, and like I would like have a whole storyline written and like tell my sister and stuff what to say so that we could like act them out. Like I wouldn't even let it be organic, which is so funny, and she would get so annoyed about that. But anyway, so I've always had a knack for performing. It's something I've always really loved. I started dancing when I was 7, and I really gravitated towards it. I'm not gonna lie, I'm definitely the kind of person that like loves to do what I'm good at. Like I deeply enjoy excelling at something, like you probably do too. I had a marrying of love for dance and a knack for it. And, that really excelled. I started to compete. I was a competitive dancer growing up, kind of like Dance Moms. It was a super toxic environment. And I don't want to get more into that, but like a conversation for another day, y'all. Like, that environment was crazy. But the thing is, we practiced all the time. I literally would go to dance sometimes before school. Like I would go at like 7, I would dance until about 8:30, go to school, go back to dance after school, and then dance until like 9 or 9:30. And like as a kid, like as like a middle schooler and stuff, I would dance sometimes so late on a Friday night and so early on a Saturday that I would just sleep over my dance teacher's house sometimes. And she would just take us to dance. And the fucking icing on the cake for this is like we sucked. That's the funniest part, is we weren't good. Like our dance teacher was like damn near verbally abusive to us, and we practiced all the time, and we just were not good. And I'm convinced that like that's why I'm convinced like shame does not make people or things grow, because yeah, anyway, so danced all the time growing up. And then I really loved to sing. I had a voice that I was very scared of sharing. So I kind of held back a lot, and I pursued musical theater in high school. The theater program I was a part of in high school, like we were just a regular high school, but like our theater program was like pretty good. So, I wanted to be in the shows for that. So I was in the musical theater program there. I was in the dance program there. I was in, cheerleading, which feels relevant, but is kind of irrelevant. I honestly was not into cheerleading. I was into creating extracurriculars for my college applications. Like I had my head on, girl, from like freshman year. All that to say, I was very physical. Physical, like movement, like all of that was a part of my life from the very beginning, like it feels like. And even like when I was a baby, like when I was a toddler just learning to talk, I would put out like laundry and stuff with my grandma, like my nan, my nanny in England, like grandma. In England, you call nanny grandma. Grandma's nanny. It's not like in America where like you have a nanny that like clocks in and takes care of you. It's like they're your grandma. So I would be like carrying the peg bag with my nan, and I would be telling her like apparently crazy fantastical stories, and she would tell my mom like, this kid is so imaginative, like she's going to be a writer or something, like she's small but she's mighty. She was just she was my heart. She has since passed, but she's watching, she's listening, and she's guiding so much. And anyway, so then I went to college for dance and theater. I went to Florida State University. More on that another time. I was ready to take on the world, and Then I tore my ACL the first semester of college, and it was heartbreaking, and it was devastating. Like, people ask me, like, did it hurt? Like, blah, blah, blah. Like, nothing compared to the emotional anguish of being taken away from something I love. That was a truly, I can't even put into words how heartbreaking that was. So, my first semester of college, I did a show. I was cast in a show. I was dancing in it. I jumped off of a platform that was about 5 feet tall, maybe 4 feet tall, and I tore my ACL. I mean, I had made that jump probably a million times in my life. I've made that jump doing crazy jumps off of it, like a bird jump and a straddle, and so many things. And just that time, I landed wrong. And I remember the feeling like it was like I landed on like broken chopsticks or something. Like I just remember my leg immediately giving out, fell to the floor, couldn't get up. I tried to stand up and it gave out. And then some kid like picked me up. They carried me into the back room. Mortified. I'm mortified because my social anxiety, guys, was through the roof. Like I was navigating a terrible imposter syndrome. I already felt like I didn't deserve to be a part of the cast. In theater, we have this thing called like dancer first or actor first. And what that means is people tend to be all three, actor, singer, and dancer, but one of them they're really good at. That's like their thing. And then the other ones come in after that. So I was a dancer first, then I was an actor, then I was a singer. And like I said, I had never really used my voice. Like I always hid my voice. I always was so ashamed and so scared of how I sounded. And I was always around such talented people that I didn't want my voice to be heard because I thought theirs was so beautiful and I didn't want to be seen messing up. I was an incredible perfectionist. So now I'm in this, moment where I'm injured. I'm in a show that I already feel like I'm trying to prove myself. I already feel like I don't deserve to be there. When we would have singing rehearsals, this one girl in the cast would always come up to me and like she would like show me the singing material, like show me the whatever the music, and she'd be like, "Oh yeah, just so you know, like this is your harmony." Like, blah, blah. Like you could tell she was like, "This bitch can't sing," and I'm doing my diligence by trying to like show her the way, which like it was so fucking condescending, and it would make me feel so annoyed. And like there was one time I was like singing at the same time as another girl, and the music director like made comments about how he couldn't even hear me, and like he just praised her for singing because he said I sounded like nothing. Like it was so embarrassing. So there's one thing that gained me, like I was like the dancer in the cast. I'm just wiped out immediately. And 2 weeks before opening, it's dress rehearsal type shit. Like we had just got fitted for clothes and dress and all that thing. Like we just had like our dress parade and shit like that, whatever the fuck that's called. So I had that injury. I didn't have good health insurance at the time. In my family, we didn't go to the doctor regularly like that. Like we did what we had to do, like required for schools and stuff. Like my parents are definitely not like anti-vax or something like that. Like we got all that done. But like if I was sick, or if I injured anything, which I'd never really had a real injury, but like my siblings or anything, like my parents weren't rushing to bring us to the doctor. They were very much like, you can heal on your own. Like if this is serious, we'll go, but like that's kind of it. So that was kind of like the vibe I was brought up on. So I didn't consider going to the doctor. And my boyfriend at the time like was trying to do whatever he could to take care of me. I lived with him and I needed him, and he really showed up for me in that time in my life. So I a couple like weeks went by and I was still not getting better. Like I still couldn't walk. I was on crutches, which I cannot explain the embarrassment. I am someone who I don't want eyes on me unless it's for a reason that I'm doing and I'm good at it. So to the fact that like I was walking around campus, this new campus I just got to on crutches, I didn't want anybody to see me. I hated how crutches and that fucking like leg brace whatever situation, like it immediately let people know I was hurt and immediately let them know I was vulnerable, and I hated that. And I hated when people asked me what happened. I hated reliving it. I hated telling people about it. I hated when people made it a big deal and tried to open doors for me. And I know that was them being so nice. And I'm so appreciative now. But at the time, I just wanted to disappear. Some weeks go by, the injury is not getting better. The swelling is beginning to go down, but there's a difference in my leg. Like I could tell. I had danced my whole life. It was all I knew. And I go to a minute clinic, get an x-ray, they do some testing. They're like, you're good. There's nothing going on. So, okay, all right, then fine. Keep dancing. Bitch, I took a dance class on that shit. I took a college level contemporary dance class on a torn ACL, which is crazy. It had been some months. I had not recovered. I hadn't leaped. I hadn't jumped in a big way. My knee had twisted out a couple times, like it buckled. So then one day I was like, okay, I got to know if this is a real injury or not. Because I honestly don't think my parents are even going to let me pursue the healthcare process in this unless they see it's serious. No shade, mom and dad. I love you. So I was in my apartment and I did a leap. I did chasse step leap, just like I have my whole life. I landed and I heard a snap, and it was so fucking painful. My teeth were chattering. Like it was like I was shaking. And I turned to my boyfriend. He was there. He immediately rushed to me. And I said, "Don't you dare tell my parents," because I was so embarrassed. And then literally he was already on the phone with them. And he was like, "I'm taking her to the ER right now. Like there's nothing you can say. Like this girl needs to go to the ER." So go to the ER. I end up finding out over time my ACL is in fact torn, my meniscus is torn, my LCL is torn, like it's all fucked. And so I have to get a surgery. And everybody knows America's healthcare is not on top of it. So this isn't like this is happening like one day after the next after the next. Like this is happening in a span of weeks apart. And in the theater world, like I'm missing out on auditions, I'm missing out on performances, all sorts of stuff. Fast forward, I end up getting the surgery. It was very hard. It was very, very hard. My parents came up, they took care of me, whatever. I rehabbed for 2 years and I was rehabbing my ass off. And I was ready. I was at full capacity and I retore again in dance class. And it was heartbreaking. Like I was like, the only thing worse than tearing your ACL is tearing it twice because you're like, "Oh fuck. I know what this looks like. I know what this process is and I know I'm going to have to do this all fucking over again." And like I mean, I cannot explain how grueling that surgery process is. It's hours long. My hips were so sore from the weight of that brace that I had to carry around that started at my vagina and ended all the way at my ankle. And I cannot express, I hated being on crutches. I hated it so much that the day that I tore my meniscus, I actually like I went to the hospital, teeth chattering, so much pain, blah blah blah. Then like we had like a school meeting after. So at FSU, like every like I think it's like twice a semester at the beginning and at the end. There we have like what's called theater forum. I don't know if they still do that, but like they basically force all the theater kids to like come together and like have like a forum, the whole entire theater community of FSU. So, I had that coming up that night. That was at like 4:30. I'm gonna see like my friends and stuff. I was so embarrassed about my injury that I covered up my hospital bracelet. I went straight from the hospital. My boyfriend dropped me there. I mean, dropped me at Theater Forum. I went in there. I didn't bring my crutches. I literally walked out and I pretended to walk regularly. I didn't tell any of my friends that I was injured or that I had been at the hospital that day or what had happened. Like, I did not want people to know I was suffering because I didn't want to inconvenience people. I know that other people have stuff going on and there's no need to like worry and sit and connect. I know that there's like no need to draw like excessive attention to myself because it doesn't make me feel good. I was deeply embarrassed. And the biggest thing is I wanted to pretend it didn't happen. I think like reflecting back on it, I just wanted it to not exist. So the fact that it did and the fact that people could see, if I could hide people from seeing it, I could keep up this facade. And I could keep up this facade that, "Oh, I just had a little injury. I'm just going to ice it up and I'll be totally fine." Even though like I'm actually dealing with like real deal fucking like a serious ass debilitating ass injury. Like holy crap. So rehab, re-tear, set up the next surgery. And my relationship that I had for 5 years and I thought was the love of my life, not even the love of my life, the love of my lives. Like I was in that shit. And it started to rapidly disintegrate at a very terrifying speed. And we both contributed to that. I am not going to get super into that today. That is a story for another time. And truthfully, I want to honor that person's privacy and not get too much into it. And I will always love that person, but shit got tough and shit got really ugly and really bad. And we are both growing from that and we're growing separately. Obviously, we are not together anymore, but my heart was broken. My leg was fucking broken. It felt like my life was broken. Like it was really sad. And I lived 6 hours away from my family. So I wasn't close to anybody. I didn't have a lot of friends because I wouldn't really let people in. So I was kind of just going through this thing on my own. And my best friend in the entire world lived down south and went to school down south. So I didn't have her. I had people virtually, but that was like it. And it was like really, really alone. It was really lonely experience. So I had my second surgery. And I'm by the way, this is all happening over the span of like 4 years. COVID's also like sandwiched somewhere inside of this too, which is just like what a trip. But this is all happening over the span of 4 years. So my entire college career, I was navigating a very serious injury that I was constantly re-injuring and then having surgeries for. So we're like nearing the end of of college at this point. Like I said, I return. So I'm on FSU's campus, that hilly ass fucking campus, on crutches. And no, do you think I would let people take me in their car or golf cart to the next class that was all the way across campus? No way. No, because I didn't want help. I would not let other people help me. I wouldn't ask for help. I was so embarrassed and I just wanted it to not exist. So I did whatever I could. And I have the next surgery coming up, but before that, I have to graduate college. So just that little simple thing. I couldn't walk at the time. And like, when I tell you guys, this world is not made for people who cannot fucking walk. Like, you don't realize it until you're in it and you're in it for a long time. And it's not just a little blimp, but it's like, this is how I have to move through the world. Like, I lived on the third floor of my apartment complex. There was no elevators. I had to, if I was alone, I had to take my crutches. I would throw them up the first flight of stairs because there would be like a flight, then a break, a flight, then a break, a flight, then a break. So I throw them up the first flight. I put my hands on either side of the railing. I would hop on one leg all the way up the stairs, grab my crutches, crutch to the next stair, then throw my crutches up again, hobble up the stairs. Like, oh my God, it was exhausting. It was so debilitating. So, and like, of course, that doesn't even begin to scratch the experience of people who are disabled and not able to move through, able bodied through their life on a daily basis. You know what I'm saying? But I just feel like I got a taste of that. I really did. And it changed my life, honestly. And like, accessibility is very important to me. And so I had to graduate college, but FSU holds like their graduation ceremony, obviously, but the theater school also holds a graduation ceremony as well. So they do that in theater forum. Like I mentioned earlier, we have that twice a semester. So the second one in the semester, that is near the semester's end, basically features all of the graduating students. And I think it's called like Hug and Mug or something. I just remember them like, we walk across the stage, they give us a hug, they give us like an FSU mug. Honestly, really cute mug, I will say. And that's like the whole school like kind of celebrates you for graduating. And they honor all the graduating students, like masters and bachelors, like all of it. So we had that coming up, and at the time I couldn't walk, and I had like a week or so until the real like FSU graduation ceremony. So I was like, my eyes were set on like, I have to walk for that one. But for the theater forum one, it just wasn't enough time for me to be able to walk again. Like, I couldn't rehab it, I couldn't swing it, like my leg just kept giving out. So I attended the theater forum situation on crutches. So they gave me the disabled seating in the back of the auditorium, which major anxiety because I'm like, ugh, I have to sit here and people are going to notice that I'm injured and they're going to notice I can't walk. But also, I liked that I was in the back of the auditorium so that I could just be the first to leave and pretend that never happened. And my plan was to attend that shit and literally just like fade into the crowd in the background and like pretend I didn't exist. Well, it came time for them to honor the graduating students, and I had made the guidance counselor aware that like, I can't walk, I have to sit like in the back, blah blah blah. So they call my name to graduate, so I'm sitting in the back, they're on stage, and you just hear like they're kind of like conveying like amongst the teachers like, oh, she can't come up here. So they decide to walk my mug to me in the back of the auditorium. If you've ever been in FSU's theater, it's quite big. So the teacher, a teacher that I really respect and I had through many years, like, takes this mug, he walks it all the way down the side of the theater, all the way down to me in the very back of the theater, like the last seat in the back row. And the whole school of theater cracks their head to watch as he walks the mug to me. And then, like, the whole school of theater is now watching me as I can't walk and I have to stay seated and accept this mug that I honestly wanted to smash on the ground. I'm going to be so serious. My social anxiety, I have dealt with such bad social anxiety in the past. Like, my first day of college, like, I threw up like in the parking lot and then like had to find another spot so that I didn't step in my throw up. Like, I was a very anxious girly. I've since really overcome that, but at the time it was pretty bad. So the thought of the entire school of theater having their eyes on me, watching me in my most vulnerable state, was, when I tell you, my worst fears coming true. Like, if you had told me that that was going to be the last day of theater for me when I started at the school, I'm telling you, sitting on a cactus doesn't even begin to describe what I would have wanted to do instead. But yeah, he walks the cup back to me. He gives me my mug. He gives me my hug, which I wanted to unfurl into myself. And like the school theater is like clapping for me. I'm like, why are you I don't deserve to be clapped. This is so embarrassing. Like, can we all just pretend this isn't happening? Can everybody please look away? Like it was so embarrassing. And I definitely had a panic attack after that whole experience because I was just like, and I was unfurled in shame. Like I was so wrapped up in disgust for myself that I was like this injured, and it had happened so many times, and that everybody's looking at me with pity. Like I'd be like crutching through the halls, and like someone would stop and be like, "Oh my God, what happened? Oh, oh, yeah, I'm sorry." Like, I just like, I'm like, I get it. I get that you're trying to be nice, but wow, I'm embarrassed. I'm very embarrassed right now. And I hate this injury so much. And the fact that you can all see that I'm in my most insecure state, and everybody, like 1,000 kids are watching me. Yeah, that was a trip. That was a ride. That was an experience. I had this neck surgery coming up, but of course I had to graduate college first, but I couldn't walk. And I had the opportunity to use a wheelchair across the stage, but do you know who you're talking to? No. I would literally rather sit on a cactus. So what I did instead was I wore many layers of athletic tape. I wore a brace and then another brace on top of that, a long dress to cover it, my graduation gown. And when it was time for me to walk across the stage, guys, I was praying on the side of the stage. I was literally praying that I could just be able to walk across the stage. Like I was damn near limping across that stage, and it was just a crazy experience, y'all. So that happened, and then it was time to get ready for the surgery because I had scheduled the surgery for right after I graduated. So it wasn't even like I was excited to graduate. It was like, okay, great. Now I can get this out of the way so that I can have this next surgery again. So I go to have the next surgery. My best friend in the whole world, she came up to visit. My relationship is rapidly disintegrating at a terrifyingly fast and horrific pace. Hi, Dogadoo Bear. Hi, doggy. And are you sensing I'm a little overwhelmed? Are you coming to give me love? Mwah. Oh, sweet boy. He just kind of like got his slobber everywhere. So I walk across the stage. Well, barely. I limp across the stage. And I mean, I was a theater major, so I had to finish out dance classes seated. I had to watch the dance classes, and I can't express the heartbreak watching all of my classmates dancing around. I took this really cool improvisation dance class with the coolest teacher I had ever fucking known in college, and couldn't even dance, couldn't even anything. I had to sit and watch, and it was so embarrassing. And like the look that other athletes give you when you're injured is the look of like, oh, I'm so sorry. I really hope that's not going to be me. Like that is like the look I felt like I was constantly getting from people. Like, and I hate that. I hate the fucking pity. I don't want to be pitied. I don't want to be like, I'm not some charity like service. You know what I mean? Like I don't want that. So um yeah, I had to sit out of like all of my classes and like basically just watch the year pass me right by, like from the seat. And like I had to basically intellectualize um all of my assignments. Like I had to turn them into writing assignments because like they had to make it accessible for me since I was no longer able to physically complete, you know, the classes. So second surgery comes, and my relationship's in a really bad place. So my best friend comes to help with the surgery. My parents come because I'm in Tallahassee. I'm 6 hours away from them. I know you're probably like, why didn't you just go back down south? Because I couldn't admit defeat. I could not do it. So I just was doing whatever I could to just make this shit not real and like just like mosey on through it, power through it, and then pretend it didn't happen. Like that was my plan. That was literally my plan, was just to like I had still not told my friends how badly I was injured. It wasn't like when I walked across the stage, it wasn't like my friends were like, yes, Rebecca, we got you. We'll hold you up, girl. Like I didn't tell them I was injured. I was keeping all of this to myself, guys. And I know you're like, how are you doing that? I was wearing long clothing. I was hiding my brace. I was hiding my bandages. I just didn't want anyone to know. Anyway, time for the second surgery. Hours long, grueling process, catheter, all that shit. I'm so sore everywhere on my body. I'm allergic to like every pain medicine, so like the amount of things I can take is such a small amount. So of course the general anesthesia always knocks me on my ass. It always takes me days to recover from that alone. So I wake up from my surgery. My loved ones are gathered around me, and they tell me that the surgery did not go well. And unfortunately, they had to take out my ACL, and I will have another surgery in 3 months. So I have to rehab for 3 months to have another surgery. This surgery that I got in 2019, I'm in 2023 being told that my second round of a surgery didn't go well and they had to take out my ACL, which I consented to because I let them do whatever they had to do to dance again. That's what I told them. So they took it out. They said we were able to repair your meniscus, but we need you to like a strict rehabilitation program to get ready for the next surgery. So you have another surgery in 3 months. That was so sad. That was so sad. And I was so heartbroken. Like I can't even put into words how debilitating that was. So I got back home. My parents took me back to my house. My best friend was there, and I just asked everyone, I said, "Can you please just go out of the room?" And they closed the door, and I remember I just grabbed my pillow and I just screamed as loud as I could. And I remember, like, before they went, like, I was, like, bottling it all in. And I just said, like, I was like, "Can you guys please just go? Can everyone just go?" And my dad, he was so quick. He was like, everybody out, get out." And I just, I cried my eyes out and I just screamed like fuck like so many times, and I just had my face buried in that pillow and I was like, I can't do this anymore. And like, guys, when I tell you dancing was my first love, and I didn't know if I was ever going to dance again. Like, it was in my heart, but I didn't know if my body was going to be able to do it. And it was so sad. And like I said, my relationship was in a very bad place. So I had this person who had loved me and cared for me and been there for me for 5 years, but we had grown so much resentment and so much hate between us that it was scary to be alone together. After a few days, my parents had to go back home. My best friend had to go back home. And I just remember I just woke up because I was on Oxy and all sorts of stuff for the pain. And Oxy is like, I fucking hate that shit. I had to sleep so much. Like, my eyesight was blurry. I was so depressed. Every time I slept, I would have horrible, horrible nightmares. And then I would wake up to the worst nightmare of all, that my life felt like it was falling apart. And I had just graduated college and it felt like I had nothing to show for it. And I'd gone to college for this theater and movement degree that I had nothing to show for. And I woke up and my parents had left and my best friend had left. They didn't want to wake me because I was sleeping, which I was like, oh, why? Please just give me a kiss before you go. And it was just me and my partner in the apartment, and shit got really bad. Like, really, really, really bad. Like I said, I'm not gonna get into that. He didn't like hit me or anything, but it was bad. We never got physical with each other, but it was scary. Like when you have an ACL injury like that, you can't go pee on your own. Like, I can't lift my leg basically. So like, I need help getting out of the bed. I need help going pee. I can't shower alone. So he had to bathe me, and I can't express what it's like being bathed by somebody who hates you and who you hate. It was a horrible experience. And so I in our house, he was not around a lot, and it was weighing on him to take care of me. Also, we broke up at this point. So we actually broke up, but like, we had agreed, like, okay, we're going to remain friends. We're always going to be there for each other, like, all this stuff. And then just shit hit the fan and he wasn't able to take care of me. And it got to a point where, like, my mom had kind of said to me on the phone, like, she was starting to sense something was up, and she was like, like if you need us to come get you and like we need to redirect this whole situation, like, we will. Like, and I had like, and my friends were saying, like, my friend down south who had come up, she was saying, like, I'm worried about you. I don't like this situation anymore. Like, I don't know if you should be there. Like, I know you want to stay for your doctor, but like, all this stuff. So eventually shit got really, really bad, like, very bad. And I had to break my lease, and I had to say, I sat him down and looked at him in his eyes and said, I don't know what happened to us, but I have to end this, like, right now. My parents are coming to get me in 3 days, and I have to pack up and I have to go, and I'm breaking my lease. And um it was a really, like, I remember the shock on his face. At first, he was so mad. Like, he was like, "What the fuck did you tell them? Like, why?" Like, because he was close with my family. And still, I respect this person. Like, we were in a very ugly time. Life tests you. He was also losing his Nana, who was his rock. Like, that was like his, almost like his mother, and she was passing away. Like, he was in a really rough place. I have so much compassion for him now. I have so much understanding of why things got the way they did. But at the time, it was rough. But please just know, like, he was a good person at heart. And I know I sound like I'm just making excuses for him, and I'm not. Like, I know that he was a wonderful person. He is a wonderful person, but life tests you sometimes, and sometimes when you go through the fire, you end up creating other fires. And that's kind of what happened. And I wasn't perfect either. I messed up a lot too. So Then I packed up my entire apartment on one leg. Like, he asked me in that conversation, like, we just kind of looked at each other and he was like, "What do you need from me?" Like, it finally felt like the tornado had ended and we just sat down and were able to look in each other's eyes and say, "This is bad." Like, you know that song from Daisy Jones and the Six, "Look at Us Now," where they're like, "How did we get here?" Like, how, like, I don't even understand, I don't even recognize us anymore. Like, that was us. Like, I when I looked in his face, I no longer saw this person I had loved and who had been my sanctuary and my rock. The first time I got injured, took so much care of me. Like so much intimate care of me. And then it was a complete flip. It was so jarring. So he asked me, "What do you need from me?" And I said, I need for you to stay out of my way while I get out of here, cuz I just need to focus on myself right now. Like, I am broken and in so many ways, and I just need to pack up my stuff and go. And like, my parents are coming to get me. My parents, by the way, are my fucking rocks. Like, the way that I'm so lucky for the support that they had. Like, they were on the phone with me like, "Do you want me to come right fucking now?" Like, that is a 6-hour drive, a 12-hour round trip for me. And my dad was like, "I am there if you say it." And he literally came on his birthday weekend. He came and got me, and like, my parents came and got me. And so yeah, so I packed up my whole apartment on one leg, everything I could. Like, I asked him, I said, "Can you get me boxes? Because I can't go out, I can't drive, I can't go anywhere." I spent every day in the house bedridden. And I would just count, like, I had these fairy lights along the wall, and I would just count the lights on the wall all day long. Like, it was so heartbreaking. And I know this sounds very woe is me, and I don't want that. I don't want it to sound that way. And there were lots of things happening at the time that I'm not disclosing. And that's why I'm saying I have a lot of grace for this person. And I was messed up in this process too. And it was bad, and I had to get out, and I had to get out for both of us. I had to end it for both of us, and it was heartbreaking. So I was going crazy, like, there's like studies that loneliness can actually affect your health, and like, it sure was. It really was taking a toll on me. So I knew I have to go back down south, and I have to figure it out with my doctors. So my parents came to get me, and I remember seeing my mom come up the stairs outside of my apartment, and she looked like the sun. Like, I just remember her face. I was just like, "Thank God you're here. Thank you. And you're saving me. Thank you." So they took me back home. And then I had this whole grueling process of having to go back to Tallahassee for the third surgery, and then going back for my appointments. So my God, it was so much. It was so much. And at the same time, my now ex-boyfriend, his nan was passing away, and she had been a pillar in my life. So I have to now, like, put all that to the side, just pretend that, like, all the stuff going on between us, like, I had to kind of put that down and like be present for her passing, because she was a meaningful person to me. And I couldn't just, just because me and her grandson had broken up, I couldn't just, like, not honored her in her last moments of life. So I was present for that, and I was present with his family for that. And I did attend, the funeral and the viewing and all the things. And so did my family, because they were close with her too. And it was really hard. Like, it was a really, really, really hard time. And so my life was falling apart, and I said to my best friend, I need to talk to you. So the same day I'm coming to talk to her, and I'm coming to tell her my life has fallen apart. I have to live somewhere else, and there's only one human on the earth I want to live with, and it's you. That's what I was coming to tell her. Her life is falling apart in another way, and her living situation is becoming a mess. And she gets this opportunity from her job to have a home that they own. And they said, "We see your living situation's getting messed up. We want you to be able to continue to work for us. So we have this condo on the water. Tell us your budget and we'll adjust the rent for you, and you can stay there." But she wanted a roommate. So she was coming on that very same day to tell me that there was one person on this planet she'd want to live with, and it's me. And in that same conversation, that's what we were coming to tell each other. And it felt serendipitous. Like, it was divine. Like, it felt like it was the light at the end of the tunnel. It felt like it gave me hope and a reason to keep living, because I know that sounds really extreme, but guys, my first love was dance. I didn't want to know a life without it. And while I had explored all these other creative endeavors, which I loved, being stationary for so long and having all this creative energy inside, like, I started to pursue other things, which I'll get to later in this conversation. But, that to be said, I did have to put my creative energy elsewhere. But, to bring it back, this like light at the end of the tunnel was like this opportunity to live with her in this really beautiful place. So rehab again, third surgery comes, have the third surgery, rehab that. I'm 2 years post-op. I'm actually 2.5 years post-op very soon. I leapt for the very first time since 2019, literally like a week ago. Not honestly, I probably could have done it way sooner, but I was fucking petrified. I was terrified, and my PT is awesome, and she has worked so hard to make it possible for me to continue working with her, and she is amazing, absolutely amazing. So I end up moving into this condo on the water. Me and the ex, like, we eventually have to sever ties, which was very hard. We had a very codependent relationship on each other. It wasn't like it was a clean ending. Like, it's never that easy. So there was a lot of ups and downs, a lot of maybe we'll be, maybe we won't. There was a lot of nights where we fought on the beach, and we fought on the balcony, and we fought in my room, and we fought on FaceTime, and we fought, and then we loved and we loved and we loved and we fought and we loved and we hated and we loved. And it was a roller coaster, and then it had to stop. So we severed that, and we said our goodbyes. And then I've been living here. I've gotten a wonderful job. I don't really want to disclose what my job is, because it feels like that's my personal life, and I don't want people to know what I do. If you know me, you know what I do. It's magical, and I have a good job. But yeah, I don't really care to put that on the internet. So I've been working here and bringing my life back and taking it back into my own hands and loving this beautiful life on the water that I get to live every day. And then last week, my best friend and my roommate sits me down to tell me that she won't be renewing her lease, and I live here because of her. So being here the way that I am, like with like a cut on the rent, and like, not paying utilities and all that stuff, like, I'm here because of her. So, like, she's decided that she's going to pursue some other stuff, and that's her choice in her life that she's taking on. And um it was heartbreaking. I kind of have no more tears left to cry. I've edited out a lot of parts of me crying at this point. Like, I will be editing all those parts out, but it was devastating. Like, it was like this, and I had to give you the whole backstory so that like why this home became so important to me, because it got me through some of the darkest times of my life and some of the darkest moments that I was experiencing as I was navigating those series of surgeries and stuff. I was able to move forward because I knew I had this place coming for me, and I had this beautiful place on the water. And I'm such an earth baby. Like, I would love to be able to see the water. I love to be able to have my feet on the ground. And I love, like, this life gave me a lot of opportunity, and it gave me a lot of sanctuary. So her telling me, like, come time for our lease to end, I'm not renewing. And I don't want to get too much into this because this is our private life and our personal matters, but it was a little blindsiding for me. So it kind of felt like the rug was taken from under me again. And it felt like my living situation was once again falling apart because someone had made the choice for me, which it's very different. The circumstances are very different, and I honor and respect her journey. And I understand that she has to do what she has to do for herself. And I'm carrying a lot of hurt and resentment and difficult feelings inside. Like, it's been tough. So it kind of felt like my worst fear came true. And it kind of felt like my worst fear came true a lot in this story. There were many moments where I was like, how do I go on? Like, how do I keep loving? How do I keep living? How do I keep trying and trusting and hoping and growing? Like, how do I do this? I hate it. I hate the pain that I'm dealing with. So what do you do when your worst fears come true? You feel it. You be with it. You're present with it. You have to let it run its course. You don't deny it, and you don't suppress it, because it rears its head like a loud toddler that is going to be heard. So what I had to do when I got injured and I was taken away from dancing, the thing that I had loved the most in my life and I excelled at, and I loved being good at something because I am dyslexic. I didn't thrive in school growing up. It was a bumpy road. Like, I was in special education classes and stuff for like my entire elementary school years, and then I kind of like climbed my way out of that. But my dyslexia did make academics come harder to me. I was not good at math. I never got an A on a spelling test in my life. So I really leaned into movement. So when that was taken, it was like, what do I do and what do I become? And I had all this creative energy that I just had to do something with, and it was bubbling out of me. So I started to write, and I started to write a lot. And sometimes I don't know if my writing predicts the future, or if I live my writing, if that makes sense. But a lot of the stuff that I ended up writing about ended up coming true for myself, and in the sense of like the heartbreak and devastation that I faced. But I became a writer. I did get published in college. Don't act like that's really cool. It was a small publication. It was just a college publication, but it was meaningful to me that I could do this. And my mom had always told me, like, that woman like was like, you are a writer, Rebecca. Like, you have a story to share. Like, you need to use your words. You need to write. You need to write. You need to write. And so I started writing, and I wrote poetry. I still write poetry, and I write many other things. And it was crazy to be seen and loved for my writing and to be recognized for it, because being growing up dyslexic, I didn't think that was an opportunity for me. I didn't think that I was a writer. I didn't think I could be academic. And I actually, once again, this is not a humble brag, or like I'm not like, please, that is not. But like, I ended up graduating college with high honors, and I did it, because I was able to pour and believe into myself, and I had a support unit like no, like nothing else. My parents are amazing. My little sister is my fucking rock. Like, these people love me and supported me so much, and they pushed me to grow. And I had this injury that, yes, it debilitated me, and it broke my heart. And I was able to take that energy and put it somewhere else. And I started writing. I started playing the guitar. I started playing the piano. I started to practice yoga because I had to slow down in my movement. I also, growing up as a competitive dancer, I was more skilled in skills than I was in feeling my movement. Not saying every competitive dancer is like that, but sometimes like competitive dancing prioritizes skill. Like, I could do like fucking 15 Alice Cones, but like I couldn't really dance from my heart. Like, I didn't really know what that was like. I could hit the beat, but I didn't let myself feel through my movement. So, when I had to learn to dance from the waist up because I couldn't walk, it changed things, and I started to get more into belly dancing, which I know belly dancing has been extremely sexualized in Western culture, but at its heart, like Middle Eastern style dancing, like, is not that. And it's a beautiful reclamation of your body and of movement and of your power. And that's what I started to let it to become for me. And I hope to share that one day with the world. But I have a lot of feelings about sharing that, because I know that that's a colonized practice, and it's not my place to put that into the world. I just want to support other creatives in that. And it's in my body, and I do love it. And yeah, so I'm navigating that. That's a different thing. But I became a different dancer. And I have always said this, but I will be better than I ever was. And I will. And it's it's in my heart. And if it's in my heart, it's going to be in my life one day. I know that. I'm very, very sure of that. And I don't need to be convinced or told otherwise. I feel like the thing about growing up as a performer is so many people tell you can't do it, that you become kind of just numb to that voice. And you know that your voice inside is louder than anything else, and that's what I'm going to listen to, and that's what I'm going to follow. And I'll let you tell me all you want that I can't do it, and that's totally fine. I love that you think that way, but I don't. And I know what I'm going to do in my body and in my life. So I plan to make a full magnificent recovery. I already feel like I'm a better dancer than I ever was, because I know how to feel and connect to the music. I've really had struggle that has really made it like I will never take dancing for granted again. I will also never not stretch before I dance, because wow, that's not a joke when your dance teacher says you could get an injury. Like, hello, let me tell you, you can get an injury. Please, please, please stretch before you dance and work out. So, all that to be said, last week I had found out that my living situation was no more. My roommate did the right thing. She gave me enough notice. Like, I have time to get my shit together. That's why I've really poured myself into this podcast, because I'm like, I need to make money doing something I love. So yeah, I wish it wasn't like that. I'm sorry to be so candid about that, but mama's got to eat. That sucks, but mama's got to eat. So anyway, after she told me that, I thanked her for telling me. I said, I'm going to need some considerable time and space to just like be with this, and to prepare myself for the financial responsibility of coming up with first, last, and security in this treacherous ass housing market. So I just said, I need to go to my room. And I went to my room. I put on a TV show as loud as I could, and I cried my fucking eyes out. And I'm telling you, whoever said tears never solved anything, they were wrong. Respectfully, that's not true. Like, tears are a very meaningful and powerful way for you to get rid of excess energy and for you to feel through what's happening. It's like sweating, like you need it. And I cried my eyes out. I called my sister immediately, because she is my rock. She spoke life into me, and then she was like, okay, do we want to call mom? And I was like, I don't know if I want to call mom, because calling mom means this is real. And my mom's gonna mama bear so fucking fast. And just like, she's anything that makes me cry or hurt, my parents are like, what the fuck happened? Like, immediately. But whatever. I was like, okay, this is real, and I have to do something about this. So we called in my mom. So I was on the phone with my little sister. We added my mom to the call. My mom is with my dad. So she puts me on speaker. So it's my mom, my dad, and my sister. And when I tell you, they just took turns speaking life into me. My dad told me stories that just gave me so much life of his hardship. My father's story in life is crazy. And that's a story for another day because it doesn't feel right to share that without his consent. But that man has overcome so many challenges and he is such an inspiration. And I told him on the phone that, like, I know I can do this. I know I can, be financially independent and, find somewhere to live on my own and like make this happen for myself because I am my dad's daughter. And I know that that determination is in my blood. And then of course my mom was like, "Hey, what? You're also your mother's daughter too." My mom is British. But I was like, "Yes, mommy, I know, I know." And my mom is magnificent as well. She has a crazy life story also. My parents' love story is wild. Like one of those like love at first sight. My dad told her he was gonna marry her the second he met her. Like so many things happened, how they ended up together. They literally were, my mom's from England, my dad is from America. Like they literally did the long distance thing before like phones, like texting was a thing. Like they wrote letters, like they have a crazy story. But anyway, like they just took turns speaking life into me. So when your worst fears come true, you cry, you look your wounds. And my dad told me, he was like on the phone and he was like, "Here's what you do, Rebecca. You got to cry, you got to feel, take your days to just feel this out. And then when you're ready, you get your head on straight, you run those numbers, you figure out how much you need to make to be comfortable, you make a game plan and you move forward." And like, he did it with so much love. Like it wasn't like he was just trying to like ignore what happened or nullify it, but he was just like, this is practical tips for what you need to do next. But feeling has to be the first step because if you don't feel, it might just end up being like a torn ACL that you won't admit you have, and then it keeps re injuring on you. So you have to feel and you have to be present with what's going on inside of your experience to get through it. The only way out is through, Dora style. You know how Dora would always be like, how do we get to the other side? And like there would like be a bridge and like she'd be like, "Do we go around it? Do we fly above it? No, we have to walk over it." Like it's kind of like that. Like the only way out is through. So you have to feel, you have to lick your wounds. You have to like just be there with that. And I just leaned on all my support. I do have a boyfriend right now. So of course I leaned on him. I leaned on some of my other friends who are removed from the situation. I leaned on my parents and they just built me up and they stood me up. Like they helped to prop me back up. So then you make a game plan. You figure out where else you can put your energy. You take that precious, beautiful life force energy that you have. One door closes, you open a window, you open another door, you make something happen for yourself. You are in control. And anytime you think you're not, figure out the way to know that you are. And you do that by finding the parts that you have the most control over, which is your experience, your mental health about it, your outlook on it, your perspective. And then of course, as this goes on, like of course I have resentment to break through, so that I can salvage this beautiful friendship that has been everything in my life. Like I have so much love and history with this person and I'm very heartbroken and I'm still in the thick of it right now. And I did exactly what my dad said. I was with my feelings, I was present with them. And when I was ready, I put my head on, I put my thinking cap on, and I had to start making shit happen. And that's why I've got Wolfer with me, by the way. His name is not Wolfer. I will not be disclosing his name because that feels like a breach of his privacy and his family's privacy. But dog walking is another way for me to make untaxed money. I didn't say that. Who said that? Somebody said that. It wasn't me. Anyway, it's a way for me to make extra money on the side. And pretty much whatever I can do to make extra money, I'm trying to. I wanted to do the thing where I share what's going on right now rather than get past it in a couple months and then intellectualize it and be like, "Hey, listen to this amazing thing that I went through and then I got through and I got through it so well." Like, no, I'm not, I didn't, I amn't. I am very much in the thick of it. I'm very much riding an emotional roller coaster every fucking day. And this is showing up. This is showing up imperfectly. I feel like there is not enough that I can say to express to you that, like, all things perceived come and go. The hardships you face and the really magnificent things you have in your life will all come and go. And it's not our place to get attached to it. It's our place to live it to its fullest. And like the sun shines and then it sets, you have to let another day come. So that's my suggestion. That's what I think when your worst fears come true. But please let yourself feel. Please let yourself know it's hard for you. I know that sometimes we do this thing, and this was what I was doing for a long time, where I was like, other people have it worse. It could be way worse. We all know what's going on in the world. Like, it could be way fucking worse. And trauma is relative. Your body only knows your experience. And it is real if it's real to you. You live in your world. You live in a world with other people, but you're experiencing it as your world, and you have to take care of that world. And when you fill that world up and when you're present with it, you can then tap into other people's worlds and share the world with other people. But you do have to take care of yourself first. And that's the whole point of this podcast. We're changing the world from the inside out. But to do that, we have to look inward. So thank you so much for being with me. This was so tough to record. Tears were, a part of the making of this production. And um yeah, thank you. Thank you for listening. And I'm here for you. And I love you. And I know that we don't know each other. And I get it. But I love that you live and you learn and you try and you fail. Thank God you fail, because I fail too. And it makes me feel seen. And then we succeed. And I'm praying for your success and for your self evolution. And please be kind to yourself. Let other people in. Let other people help you, please. This experience is so much better when you let other people in on it. And community is gonna get you through. Lean on your loved ones. Find your loved ones. Find your people. Lean on them. Lick your wounds. Get your head on straight when you're ready, and we'll tackle this together. I love you. Please have a beautiful week and take care. Bye.